So today's leg day. We're gonna do a full-on lower body day hitting glutes, quads, and hamstrings. Of course, I'm gonna do a voiceover and kind of explain my workout and go into detail that way. And then afterwards, I really want to sit down with you guys and talk about what changes I specifically made to grow my lower body, but legs in particular, because they were lacking for years. I was very upper body dominant. I was spinning my tires and I could not get my legs to grow. So I definitely made certain changes that I want to share with you guys, and they have contributed a lot to my leg growth. But first, let's pick out a gym fit. Let's get the pre-workout flowing. Let's hit this lift, and then we'll get into all those details. Okay, so this is the fit. I'm wearing the Monogram Adapt shorts. I love these. The bandeau bra, love the bandeau bra, and then the midi jacket. These are probably, this is like my favorite fit. Usually the Adapt collection is my favorite. So the Safari Adapt, Monogram Adapt. The Monogram is what has this little design. But yep, this is the fit. Off to hit some legs. All right, so I'm having my pre-workout. This is a stimulant-free pre-workout because I do love to have my coffee, so I did already have that. So this is for pump and focus. PE Science, high volume. You get no itchiness, and the flavors are all really subtle and really good, but I'm gonna show you guys something in 1 second. So I'm gonna take a scoop and a half of this. Gives the best pumps. Another thing, it's really good to be hydrated. So not only am I gonna be drinking this, I'm gonna be drinking my water bottle that I'm bringing, but it really has a big impact on your workout and your strength, overall health. We know being hydrated is very good. So I have my pre-workout. The flavor is melon berry twist, but there is a new flavor coming with a JB on the label. I'm so excited next month. So the flavor will probably be announced soon, and it's on like all of their other flavors on the website. I'm super excited about it. I might be biased, but I think it's gonna be a big hit. So that's gonna be coming in the high volume and prolific. So the caffeinated version of the pre-workout and then the non-caffeinated version. Both don't give any itchiness. It's nice you can stack them to tailor how much caffeine you want and how much pump you want. And then also, since it is morning time and I'm kind of rushing to the gym, I'm gonna have this. It's a Griot peanut butter yogurt from Hummus Fit, but it's Greek yogurt with a little bit of protein powder and some like chocolate chips and peanut butter in it. It's really good, but you can create your own at home. So I'm gonna eat this before the gym for some good protein and carbs to fuel my workout, and we're gonna hit these legs. All right, we made it to the gym, and today's workout will be a pretty balanced overall leg day. I want to hit my glutes, hamstrings, and quads, but before that, I always start my leg days with pretty much the same warm-up routine. I used to have some problems with my hips and knees, so I chose some dynamic movements to really focus on and warm those up and make it so I can perform my best. And I haven't had issues with them for a while, so I think it's been working pretty well. For the first exercise, I always start my leg days off with some seated hamstring curls, and I do this for two reasons. One, because my strength on them has skyrocketed and I've noticed a lot of hamstring growth, much more than when I just tossed them in at the end of my workout and was just being lazy with training them. And second, it's a great way to warm up your knees. I even do them first on my quad days to warm up because it warms up my knees but doesn't fatigue my quads or glutes for all of my next movements, so it's a win-win for me. For my first, I would say difficult compound movement, we are going with reverse lunges, and let me tell you, they absolutely suck, but I love them so much. My legs have seen so much growth from doing these and getting really good at them. They are not an easy movement to begin with, but it took me some time to really get my form down and really get comfortable, and now I can really push some weight on them, and my glutes have been growing and thanking me for sure. On the next movement, I wanted to hit my quads a bit more, so I'm going to go with a quad bias leg press. I'm doing them single leg because I love this particular leg press at my gym, but you can do them with both legs and that's perfectly fine. What makes them more quad bias than glute bias is where my foot is placed on the platform. Notice it's pretty low, so I'm getting a nice stretch in my quads at the bottom of the motion. These have been a staple in my leg days for a while, and I've been really enjoying them. Next, we're moving on to probably one of my least favorite exercises to do, but a really great exercise, and that's RDLs. I love the results. These are great for hitting your glutes and hamstrings and getting a really great stretch for both of those, but my form is going to be a little bit more glute biased because of how much of a bend I have in my knee and how far I'm sinking my hips back. And honestly, after that, my hamstrings and glutes were pretty fatigued, and I wanted to get a little bit more work on my quads quads, so I did do some leg extensions. Notice my tempo and how intentional I am with each rep. I definitely used to just toss these in at the end and go through the motions and not train very intense with them, but ever since I started taking them more seriously, I've noticed much better progress. And last but not least, calves are probably the weakest part of my legs. I'm not a fan of training them. I think everyone kind of hates training them, but I'm really focused on building them this year, and while calves are very, very genetic, you can build them, and I'm out here just trying my best. And that's it. It was a great workout. You don't need to do tons of exercises and tons of volume, just some good quality movements, high effort, and just showing up and being consistent and locking in each workout. Okay, so the workout's done. I'm back home, showered, ate some food, all cleaned up. Let's do the sit down and talk about what changes I made to grow my lower body. So I always get asked questions about how I grew my glutes, quads, and hamstrings. And honestly, I'm gonna do a whole nother video on glutes, so I'm not gonna go super in depth about that because I feel like there's so much more information out there and everyone would love that. But before we go into actual training tips, you're going to really struggle to see progress and to grow if you're not taking your nutrition seriously and if you're not training with intensity. This is definitely something I did in the beginning of my fitness journey, and when I made this change, it made a massive difference. Now, let's go into some of the workout tips that I think really helped me. First, let's start with the muscle that I think I progressed in the most, but I also struggled the most with, and that is definitely my quads. And I mainly contribute my quad growth to exercise selection, form, and just really figuring out how to target them better. So I'm pretty average. I'm 5'5", but I have long legs and my femurs are pretty long. So that's like the bone from like your knee to your hip, and my torso is short. So doing barbell back squats for me are pretty uncomfortable, and for them to be more comfortable, never fully comfortable for me, I need to do a low bar, and my torso is pretty bent over, and that's going to be more glute biased. You are hitting your quads and your glutes with squats, but for me to do a barbell back squat, they're definitely more glute biased. So a big change for me was finding other squat variations and getting comfortable with those to target my quads better, whether that was Smith machine squats, pendulum squats, hack squats, or even quad biased leg press like I showed in my workout. Those squat variations are just a lot better for me for getting a deeper stretch in my quads and allowing me to have the form that just targets my quads a lot better. And then the other big change I made was I started taking my leg extensions more seriously. I'm a lot more intentional with each rep and progressing in them, whereas before I was just throwing them to the end of my workout. I was kind of lazy with them, just going through the motions and not putting any intensity into them. So that's pretty much it for quads for me. It was just really dialing in my training and my exercise selection and how I was performing the exercises that made such a big difference. Now let's talk about hamstrings. Most of my hamstring growth came from RDLs, leg curl variations, and hyperextensions, but man, was I messing those up for a while. Let's just start with the worst one. My RDL form used to be terrible, and I hated them because they were so uncomfortable because my form was so bad. It just took me a while to learn how to properly hip hinge and send my hips back. I also needed to learn to keep my spine neutral and to not go so low to protect my lower back a little bit. But I also learned a lot of tips along the way to make my form a lot better. It's just a very tricky movement in my opinion, but I'm happy to say I kept trying and it's much better now. My form is so much more comfortable. I've been able to add a lot of weight and progress and see progress from them. The only other main thing, and I did mention this in my voiceover, is I love having my leg curls at the beginning of my leg workouts because not only does it warm up my knees, but I've been able to progress in that movement so well with having it at the beginning of my workout with more energy and less fatigue, and I've been able to really excel in my weight on doing some leg curls. So I know I'm making much better progress with them with how I've been able to progress in the weight. So that's it for hamstrings, and like I said, I want to make a whole separate video on glutes, but let's talk a little bit about the things I know helped me or the things I did incorrectly. What I will say is 99% of my progress came from good, stable movements with good form and good intensity, and that the glutes are often a muscle group that's very overcomplicated. I just feel like everyone's trying to reinvent the wheel when it comes to the glutes, doing a ton of volume, doing like 30 weekly sets with a bunch of crazy movements, and that's just definitely not where my glute progress came from. I actually lowered my volume. I got rid of a bunch of junk volume and really stuck to the basics and progressed in those, and that made a massive difference for me. I could go on and on about the glutes and how I think they're way easier than people make them out to be, but I'm gonna save that for a whole other video. I think that's gonna be it for this video. I hope you guys like more of a talkative style sit down video with the workout and tips because I really enjoy these, so here's to more of these to come if you guys like them. But I know a full week of workouts was promised, and I do still want to do that, but I was thinking it would be better to do that in line with my new program coming out, which is soon. So that is still coming, and I do know you guys like food videos as well to see how I fuel my gains, so more of that to come as well. But yeah, thank you for watching. Subscribe for more content, and I'll see you in the next video.